If you were to ask any Norwich resident to name the 3 oldest buildings in our city centre, I feel certain that on every list would be Norwich Castle. Well, it ought to be because its construction predates even that of our cathedral. And as you might imagine, here there are plenty of Norwich Firsts. This mound is the largest in England, a diameter on its summit of 116 metres, and of course it's artificial. It was constructed by forced labour soon after the conquest of 1066. The Norman Keep was the most elaborate to be constructed in England. This wasn't a royal castle most of the time. In fact, from the early 13th century, it was predominantly a prison until the City Corporation bought it in 1887, and local architect Edward Boardman converted much of it into a museum. Inside is a small selection of the unique Norwich School of Painters, the only one of its kind in Britain. These were painters that were inspired by the beauty of the Norfolk landscape. There is also the largest provincial civic regalia collection in England, reflecting the historic wealth and status of our fine city. This is the Twining's Teapot Gallery, and here some of the museum's collection of 3,000 teapots. 3,000! It's the world's largest collection of teapots from the 1730s right up to the 1980s. From one of the oldest buildings in Norwich to one of the newest, here at the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital, which opened on this site in 2001, replacing the old site which had been founded some 230 years earlier in 1771. To some of you watching this tonight, and also to the millions of people worldwide who've had a hip replacement, there are 2 brilliant orthopaedic surgeons to thank. This man, George Kenneth McKee, and John Watson Farrer, who worked together here in the 1960s at the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital. Together they developed this, the ball and socket joint. This goes into your pelvis, this gets you into your leg, and hey, away you go. So to Mr. McKee and Mr. John Watson Farrer, we say hip hip replacement. Now here's a quirky one to finish, and it's also connected to the hospital. For around about 140 years, between 1770s and the early 20th century, the surgeons here at the N&N conducted around about 1,500 operations in the removal of bladder stones. And they kept them all. And they're here in the stores. Follow me. The world's most extraordinary bladder stone collection.
It is. It's very extraordinary. It's drawer after drawer after drawer of the most amazing collection, vast collection.
Wow.
Every specimen is labelled, every specimen has the name and the date and the surgeon. So here the first one is taken up by Mr. Don, who's one of the founder members of the hospital. I mean, it's an amazing collection, and they're all quite incredible.
So I'm looking at the sizes of these, and I can see some that I thought would be small pebbles. That's what I'd expect. But are there smaller ones and larger ones?
There are. There are very tiny ones in the drawer here, which I'm sure you'll take a look at in a bit, but very tiny, almost dust-like, ranging from mid-sized ones. But then also we have really very large stones as well. I have one here.
Right.
That is worth showing you, just possibly the largest.
This is the largest.
This is the largest.
Oh my goodness. This is a bladder stone.
It is.
This was removed from a human being.
Yes, at the Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital in its first days.
The pain, the severe pain, I mean, it's very heavy, but the pain the human must have had carrying that around, that is extraordinary. That is a bladder stone. That's quite extraordinary. Emma, this really has been the most extraordinary bladder stone collection ever. And thank you very much for allowing us to see it. What can I say? It's another Norwich first. Until next time, thanks for watching. Gosh, the pain, extraordinary.